All right, good night, everybody. Good night, good night. Welcome to the show. This is Chris, your host. Welcome back to Unheard Word Podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
I'm David.
All right, guys. So today's show is talking about pick me relationships. There's really like a war, unfortunately, a gender war that's been happening between men and women. Men who are expressing interest at a high level in a young lady are seen as simps, and women, conversely, who express a lot of interest in a man and do things to accommodate him are seen as pygmies. So, to give a better definition, it says women are called pygmies, men are called simps. Women put themselves in dire straits and allow for, one could say, disrespect, and men allow for abuse, sometimes financially being used, especially on like platforms like OnlyFans, things of that nature. So that's kind of the conversation we're going to have today. Like, why is there this conflict between men and women, and definitely the just wanting something and expressing that, you know? Have you seen that in your estimation as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's really big on the social media aspect, but
Mhm.
it's poured into real life because we always want to imitate our art. So a lot of women these days are kind of going out there and they kind of have a dislike, or let's say not a dislike, but they're either looking to use a guy who will be considered as a simp, or it's kind of like what's poked fun at, that a guy who's maybe trying to find love, but maybe gets looked at as a simp if he's not the baller type, or if he's not, doing things, he's not a bad guy. If he doesn't meet a certain standard, then you're just considered a simp, or like you're like lame, or you're lesser.
True. That's true. That's true. All right. So we're gonna jump right into it, and I'm gonna pose this question to the audience. We'll let that roll across the bottom. What is the purpose of relationship? I'll let that kind of be something you keep in the back of your mind as we go through all the clips tonight. So let's play this first one here now.
You're giving a lot of the accountability to the woman of the family. It takes the man to be a part of the family too. So if he's helping her create the child and he doesn't stick around to her raise a child, that's his fault. It's not her fault.
No, if you're a woman and you want to keep the man that you had a baby with, you have to bow down.
You have to bow down.
You are not in charge here.
What are you talking about, Corey?
You have
You're
to
trying
bow
to make me
down.
upset. She's trying to make me upset. I'm not gonna.
What, do you have kids?
I don't have any kids.
Obviously, you ain't got no kids. That's what I'm saying. It's like
What do you mean
you're not going to bow down.
No, I'm not. But I would have enough money to raise my child with or without the guy.
Right. So money, you'll have kids raised with money.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a very interesting clip. Very, very interesting. I'd say that I saw
Wow.
and that's Kendra G, radio personality, social media influencers. So yeah, first reaction, easy question: should a woman bow down to her man in a relationship? For the record.
Oh, bro, off the record. This is the loaded gun right here, yo. We starting off with bullets,
Hot
shots
and heavy.
fired. But hey, I mean, so first off, uh, maybe Hulk was taking it a little bit on the strong end with the bow down, but
Okay.
if we are talking about relationship marriage things like that, then it is supposed the woman is expected to be able to submit herself to her husband. Now, at the same time, it's a mutual thing on the opposite side. The husband is supposed to submit to his wife as well on certain levels. But if the man is in the household, then he is expected to be the head, and the woman is supposed to allow him to be the head of the
Mhm.
family, head of the relationship, head of the household. So that's where it kind of comes up to. Now, question often is that man playing his part or doing what he's supposed to do to obtain that spot? And we live in a day now where there's so many, independent, strong women that, if you're not holding up to a certain area, they're gonna walk over you. Just period.
Mhm.
It's move forward and get the heck out of the way. So, what's your
Interesting.
thought on that, man? What's your thought on
For the
does she,
record,
she
for
to
the
bow down?
record. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Bow down, like you said, is strong, but there does have to be some leadership. Sometimes that final say, someone say
Yeah,
even like a veto power in a relationship. Like, okay, yeah, we've heard each other's points, but for us to progress forward, this is how it's gonna go. So in a sense, like I said, it sounds strong,
yeah. It sounds
but there
strong.
does have to be. Go ahead.
I guess I think it may be with the maybe the choice of words or the harshness of words.
Yeah.
But what my man was trying to convey across is he was saying that if you want to have that man there and him be in the household as well, and having a man there in the household
Hmm.
as well, you do have to be willing to like lean or give a little bit of that. Yeah, you have to kind of, not saying necessarily say bow, but you have to give him some respect or allow him to be in that higher role.
Hmm.
Because simply speaking, a real man who's not allowed to be in that higher role is not going to find himself wanting to be in that home.
Hmm.
No, a real man's not going to want to be ran, especially well,
Interesting. Yeah.
especially like he was saying, if you want him to be there, as in be present and take care of the kids and be a part of the family, and he needs to feel like he is the man of the house. A man who does not feel like he is the man of the house is miserable, and a miserable man 9 times out of 10 is not going to stay in that misery. So if you do want him to be
Interesting.
there, you have to allow him to feel and fit that role that he needs to fit. This is for a real man. Now you
Yeah.
got some men who just want to sit on the couch and play Madden all day, and they don't really care. And women have make all the money, or this, that, and the other, or they make all the rules and blah, 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 blah. But
Hmm.
there's a difference between that and a man. So
That's true. It's who you're picking to lead. Like, has this shown proven leadership qualities? Have they put in the work to show that, okay, I can execute on a deadline and show you that I'm not just out here lollygagging. Like you said, he's not just on Madden. He's not bouncing back and forth between jobs. He's shown some kind of consistency. That's a
exactly.
major thing. Like, have you proven that, okay, you in a sense deserve, it sounds bad, you
Yeah,
deserve
it
my
does.
leadership. Like I said, it's a very triggering clip, and
Very
it,
triggering, very triggering.
but there has
It's
to
one of
be
those things
someone in
that,
respect. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
it's one of those
either
things that
side.
like it can get you in trouble. But it's
Mhm.
like this: you got a lot of women out here who they want a man to be the man, but then they don't want to let the man be the man.
That's true. You want to be led, but then you still want to lead. So
Hmm.
it's a funny. I think I forget if I messed it up. I don't want to misquote the person, but it's like, okay, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck. So it's like the decision making can quote unquote come from the man, but the woman, depending on how she talks, how she treats to him, how she caresses the situation,
Right.
can really, still get her point across. Not to say that people shouldn't be heard or understood, but like I said, there's for some situations there needs to be some kind of veto power. Like, okay, for the best, course of action for our family, let's do XYZ. But you have to have that trust in that person, in that partner, to execute, and they've shown that. Like I said, it's not a blind, okay, just figure it out for us, kind of thing. You have to trust that person and give that person room and that grace to lead the family. I am sure the comments are interesting for this.
there will be comments on this one, I
So
know.
let's jump into a couple before we go to our next clip. We have, wow. So yeah, so yeah,
Oh,
definitely. We have let's see, it's like a curiosity face. No. So some people just saying no. Um it says submission is only for men who can lead. He
there
should
you
be able
go.
to profess, provide, and protect. Yeah, that's what I said. That you definitely have to choose that person and give the reins over to them once they've proven and they have the best interest for the family and yourself. It says no one bows down. Submission doesn't equal bow down. It's mutual. I kind
Okay.
of understand what they're saying. They also say Thank you, Carrie. Not because you're a man means you can lead. Just being a man doesn't equal leader. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Fair point. Very fair point. Yeah, we are definitely starting off hot and heavy today.
It's gonna be trouble,
What
trouble.
trouble. All right. So one thing I do want to highlight, in the young lady's comments, her name was Kendra G, the radio personality. At the end of the clip, she said, she doesn't have to bow down because she has money. And he argued, okay, you'll have money and that's it. You'll just have money and a kid, essentially. There's no
Exactly.
leadership. And there's a point, especially if you have a son in his life where, you're going to need that, just to say, bluntly, like a man's direction. Not that women can't raise sons, but there's some things that only men can teach young men. Unfortunately, that's
Right.
just reality. And conversely, with women too, you can't not have a woman in a young man's or a young woman's life. There has to be a balance, essentially, in life.
It has to be a balance. Yeah.
So, our next question: does money replace the man?
Now, there are some women who I think feel that and I take nothing away from it. There are a lot of single moms. I know a
Mhm,
lot of women who have unfortunately been in that position where they've had to raise their children on their own. And there are a
mhm,
lot of single moms, and I applaud them all for doing a good job. But there is some areas where, especially for a male child, where they need male factors
mhm.
involved in order to help teach certain things. And I think that's one of those issues that we have where a lot of our young men are like led astray because they don't have that benefit of having the right male presences in life. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the child's father, but a really, really good uncle, good grandfather, just family figures, cousins. There's just somebody. But in this day and age, family dynamics and those diagram though that's so separate from what it used to be, to the point where these children are growing up, these men are growing up without the right environment. And I think that's one of the reasons why we see such a lot of negativity with our young men today, the fact that they don't have that male presence or the appropriate male presence. So I'm no, for me, my thinking, money does not replace the man. I feel like there's certain things that the man needs to be there to do when it comes down to the children. And I think that honestly and truthfully, for the woman, there's a place where a man needs to be for a woman as well. You
Mhm.
know, the two are meant to be together. Like, it's not good for a man to be alone. It's not good for a woman to be without, a male factor either. At some point, the two need to find each other in order to make it work. Money by itself won't cover it all. But we live in a society now, especially with government involvement and things like that, where they're teaching that. They're pushing that. So the government is pushing for that. They're elevating
True.
that by all these benefits that they're given, to make it seem like a woman doesn't have to have a man in the house, as long as they can get checks throughout the month and get food paid for and housing paid for and yada yada. So
Mhm. That's true. Yeah, there needs to be, like you said, the balance. This is not an argument against the women. This is definitely a conversation to show the value in the importance of having both in the household. But like you said, unfortunately, society has made it where men, in a sense, have become disposable and reduced to really just being a wallet in some situations,
right,
which is unfortunate. But yeah, that the money aspect, the growth of certain programs and the provisions provided that make the decreased need for men in the household, just at least from a financial aspect, I think has been a great detriment to the community, unfortunately. All right. So yeah. So we're gonna play one more clip from this first opening segment. Then we'll jump back into the comments. I know they blowing us up again. Well, yeah. Let's play this next clip right here.
Find it sexy or attractive when a man, where I could feel like, as far as like romantically, that I'm in your presence and I feel protected, right?
Same.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. As someone who was raised by an independent woman,
Yeah.
and I like it, But I like it when I
And we
can
don't
be with a
mean-
man and I can feel protected.
We don't mean protected like financially, although that's a perk. We just mean like,
Definitely.
yo, like
In
you walk in the room
general.
and they're there and you're like, nah, I know he got me. And if something goes down, I got him.
Yeah. So that lends to our next question. What makes you feel safe in a relationship or protected?
So this is one of those ones that we need to get some more women on this
Yeah,
thing.
I wish some of the commenters would definitely come on the
to give
panel.
their views. All you gotta do is click the link and get on the video. Come
I
on,
know.
click in. But here we go. So folks, this is just from in my field and where I work and things like that. I deal with a lot of women on a regular basis. So this is what I get from the conversation. It's not going to be nearly as correct as maybe if we got the directly from the woman's view.
From women,
But
yeah, true.
but from what I've heard, for a woman to feel secure, finances does typically play a part. Like they want to know that they don't have to worry or stress about things. They got it. Now, your independent woman who has her own money is not as serious of an issue for them, but they do still want that man to be able to easily have his part to where it's like it doesn't have to be a thought or a concern or not all on her to do something. Like she can have the opportunity to lay back and still be, the feminine at whatever point she wants to. So the financial aspect, not having to stress about the money and things like that. She wants to know basically that if the push comes to shove, her man will step up and fight for her or do whatever to protect her. That's always a big thing. That's one of those reasons why. That's one of those things that like women find comfort in men who are bigger. They find comfort in men who are taller. They find comfort in men who are muscular, things of that nature. But kind of gives them that sense that nobody's gonna mess with me because my man's gonna protect me or got me. It's another one of those things that tend to attract a lot of our young women to like these guys who are like thuggish, so to say. It's that thought that ain't nobody go step up because my man go fight, so that kind of thing. And that really kind of is the main thing. They look for finance, they look for protection, that feeling of safety and security, and that's really it. I mean, that's the bigger part. And I know there's more to that, but this is what I get from the women who I've talked to in the past.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Financial security, having the four walls, be it rent or a home, just making sure that that's secure on a month-to-month, year-to-year basis, where you can come and lay your head down and not feel that pressure of, are we getting evicted? That where you're sleeping, like the basics, is secure and in good standing. Also, I would say if you can feel that you have a space where you can be vulnerable. From my conversations, some people don't feel they have the space within their relationship to express themselves properly or safely without judgment or without pushback. So they either bottle it up or they turn to other sources or ways to cope with any kind of stressors because they don't feel at least that aspect of protection, the emotional protection. They can't, fully divulge themselves to this other person, which unfortunately can be a detriment to the relationship as well. So those are some things you have to. It's not just the financial space, but also the emotional space. But that kind of goes both ways because men, kind of a couple episodes back, where we talked about being vulnerable and also hearing that person when they tell you something. Like, do you really hear what I'm saying? Do you really care what I'm saying? I remember, I think it was our episode with you and Suzette. We talked about those different topics of valuing somebody's emotional expression. So for men and women, that may look different in terms of the protection, be it financial, emotional, sometimes even spiritual. Like, you allow me to express my faith, and do you support that? Do you even agree with that? So yeah, this conversation probably would be better fleshed out if we had some other women some women on the panel. But,
anybody want to get on camera?
There's the link. Anybody want to come up? Hit the
link,
StreamYard link and definitely come up. So we'll jump into some comments for this. Oh boy, they're eating us.
Come on,
it's funny how some men want to be treated like a king, but treat their women like peasants. Ooh, shots. In which kingdom is the history of the world do you find that hierarchy? Yeah, you have to have balance and you have to value the person that you are with. Let's see. Uh, I think we saw this one. What qualities does this man have or show that he can lead? Wanting to lead requires trust, as you said. She says she has funds to take care of a kid. Does leadership push the man away? I am Marsha says, I love yamps. Yes, David. Males are important, but it doesn't have to be a biological father. That's a little dangerous, but let's finish this statement. Sometimes death can make that doesn't make that possible. True. Sometimes you lose your life due to illness or situations. But uncles, cousins, community men, mentors, yeah, they can step up and fill in that role.
Mhm.
Ian Marshall says, I do mean financially because most problems start when there's a lack of. That is a cause of divorce, unfortunately. Real men are needed in the household. Some waste men are in the household same way and are just as good as absent. Ouch.
Yes,
That is
it's true.
true.
It's
It's
very
true.
true.
So, okay. We can kind of build. Let's finish the comments and we'll address that one as well. Luisa says, what? And I feel safe in a relationship when I can truly be my feminine self, when I feel heard and understood by him, when we can bounce ideas off each other. True. As a woman, I don't need a man for his money. Like I said earlier, it's mutual. Holding me down and comfort comes from a man that's thoughtful and considerate.
Cool.
Okay. Understood. All right. So to ask this question, or at least a point. So when it comes to having a waste man in the household, is that
A waste man.
I wouldn't say that is that the fault of the man that he's in the house, or that the woman allows him to do nothing in
Oh
that
man.
house? You
Oh
know,
man. Oh man.
I need these commenters to come on camera. We're going in tonight. We're going in.
So I'm gonna say, and I know this is gonna get my lunch ate, but I'm gonna say it's both. I'm gonna say it's both. Number one, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, and I'm coming through. And ladies, if you're listening, I'm gonna put you in on some game. And fellas, look, my bad, but this is for entertainment. But as well as instruction and education for our community, because I have a daughter, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
She's 5 going on 6. And
Mhm.
so this information didn't get out there, for her as well.
Mhm.
It is a fact. You can try to check me if I'm wrong, but it is a fact that men typically will, mostly for the biggest part, will do what you allow us to do. I'm just gonna be straightforward. Ladies, we'll do
Mhm.
what you allow us to do. So if you make it totally okay for us to come in and sit around and not have to do anything and play Madden all day and hang out with the boys and go smoke and go club all night and spend our money on whatever we want to spend our money on and all kind of foolishness, and you allow that to become the comfortable situation, then don't, look around a couple years later and nothing's changed. You can't be mad about that. Like, you allowed that to become the norm and to become the comfort zone. Like, you allowed us to set in and get that. And if we're comfortable on that level, then we're not going to look to make any change. Like, we only going to look to make the change if you push or make it an issue for us to make the change. Or if that is set and established, those things you're looking for are set and established before you allow things like moving in together or this, that, and the other. And this can go so much deeper,
Mhm.
but we got things planned for
And
the conversation. So we'll if we get back around to it, we'll go back in deeper. But so honestly, the bigger part of responsibility, I believe, it falls on the woman, because if you allow it, then he'll do it.
Mhm.
A level of it does fall on the man, because a real man should want to be responsible. A real man should want to take care of the home. A real man should want growth for his family and his kids and things of that nature. So now, women, are you picking real men, or are you picking him
Key
because
point. Yep.
are you picking him because he got nice eyes and and pretty hair, and y'all make pretty babies,
Pretty babies, yeah.
or because he looked good on Instagram, or
Mm,
you like his tattoos and muscles. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to choose the right qualities of what you're looking for. As is that man a man? You know what I'm saying? If you're
mhm.
looking for a man that's gonna be a leader, then you should scope those leadership qualities in that man before you choose him to be in that relationship. If you choose something that's lesser, you can't expect there's gonna be lesser. And I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't care how much you may think you can or how much power you think you have.
Mm,
9 times out of 10, you're not gonna change a
change
man.
that, yeah.
It's just
Characteristics sometimes are
if
innate.
right, if this is what he is, 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna change from there. It's not gonna just
True.
take you. It's gonna take you and some God and some Jesus and a couple ass whippings. But if you want to get a man
Amen.
to change, otherwise it's just not gonna happen. So be careful who you pick. I have this saying that I say all the time when I'm talking to my friends and stuff about relationship. I say you got to pick them. It's one of them things that like my uncles and grandpa used to say. Yeah, simply put, you got to pick them.
You gotta
So
pick
you
them.
need to know what you're picking and getting yourself into.
Yeah, shots fired. Big points. He said. Again, to be fair, it's people do, like you said, people do what you allow, men and women. So if you allow the gentleman to come in, not do anything, not contribute, not show any leadership qualities, lollygag, and not pull his weight in a sense, and that goes on, and he's not showing those steps to make those changes, and you don't have that conversation and have it in a directed or urgent manner, like I said, people are just gonna say, okay, status quo is gonna stay the same. I've heard situations where people say, oh, I'll stop smoking when we get married, or I'll work harder when we get together, or when we move in, I'll step it up. But certain you can't teach ethic. You can't unteach laziness. Like there's some characteristics, if that's who you are, that's
That's
who
who
you
you
are,
are. That's
unfortunately.
who you
So
are.
you have to cut them loose early, men or women. If she's not falling in line, if he's acting up and doing who knows what, you can't say, "Oh, I'll change him," or I'll put it on him and he gonna act right. No,
It ain't gonna happen. It
it
ain't gonna
ain't
happen.
gonna happen.
It ain't
It's
gonna
gonna
happen.
be you're gonna be crying 3 months,
Exactly.
a
Three
year
months
later, and say,
later,
"Oh, why was
exactly.
what?" No, come on.
Exactly. Listen. A snake only sheds his skin to become a bigger snake. I'm
Oh
I'm
Lord, say
sorry.
it again. Say it
That's
again
it.
for the audience in
A
the back.
snake, a snake only sheds his skin to become a bigger snake.
Wow, I've
Ladies,
never heard that.
listen,
Yo,
that's all to it.
appreciate the
I'm telling
time.
you.
Oh wow! All right, so we are definitely gonna jump into the next segment. Let's see these comments.
It,
Let's see. Let's see where we at. When I can express my needs without him taking it as an attack. That's a delicate balance. That's a dance you have to dance, because some people are very animated and some people are more reserved. So how you approach, that person can, for lack of a better word, be triggering to them, so they can say, "Oh, I feel attacked. I'm offended." Like certain tones for some people will trigger that. So you have to approach that person based on their conversation or expression style. So we have security financially, emotionally, and physically. Because if I have to bust some heads for him, I will. But I'm not going out to look for trouble. It's his fault. He's a waste. All right,
mm,
and hers for being careless. To waste
waste time with.
time with him. All right, there we
Okay.
are.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
holding
Yeah.
both of
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
accountable out
I
here.
got you. That's it.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
That's it.
We have true. The minute you realize he's a waste man, run the boy.
Run the boy. Run the boy.
Because now it's on you for keeping him around if there is no change in his behavior. Again, the person has to show change. That's true. Very true. Financial security is important in the sense that needs are met and that there's no stress, which can easily transfer negatively in the relationship. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so we got some more comments rolling in. Hold on. at this point, he is who he is because in the first part of the relationship, you are seeing the best of him. So he is a waste man. It will only get worse. That's true. You get that initial representative in the first, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. Some people can fake the funk for a long time.
Maybe, yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be that vetting process. You have to, if you can't vet, or if you see that you can't vet well yourself, or you need help, that's when you got to have those male influences, or those mothers, those grandmas who say, that one baby, he ain't right, or she ain't right. You know, like there's some parents where you bring them around, like this ain't the one. Oh, but I love him, but I love her. Nah,
that's it.
You're gonna be crying in a few months.
That's it.
And then you have a baby, then you caught up at no. So then that just leads down a rabbit hole.
And check it, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this.
You've been saying a lot tonight.
I know, right? But men typically aren't able to, let's say, like fake things like that for nearly as long as women. Like a woman can put on that facade for like years. Like it's like she can play long game, drawn out. Oh my gosh, she's everything I need, and then 5 years later, what the hell? Yeah. Men typically don't or aren't able to play that game for that long. So typically, what you get, like Carrie was saying earlier, typically what you get up front, like you said, is probably about the best representation. And so if it seems like he's a waste up front, then yeah, run, because no.
That's true. That's very true. Very true. Very true. All right, so yeah, we're heating up tonight, So we're going to jump into this next clip or next segment, and it talks about swapping roles. We know in society, traditionally, you hear the term gender role, you know, men, providership, women, support, nurturer at the home, you know, to the children, etc. What in this new era, a lot of things have become intertwined, fluid, and sometimes even completely swapped. So we're going to play a couple of clips to highlight this, and then we'll get our point of view on said topic.
We're too much on the labels these days. You know, we've got simps and pick-me's, and I was on a conversation about my marriage at one point, and I talked about how my husband had 4 kids and he had just gotten divorced, so his finances were crazy. And I had no debt, no kids, no problems, had money in the bank, and I married him. And someone called me a pick-me because I didn't get a high-value man or didn't engage in hypergamy. And then once we got married, instead of him setting the purpose and the dream, he realized that, man, her purpose and her dream is gonna get both of us further. So he practically shut down his shop to help me become a judge, and then he went across the country to allow me to be on TV, and dropped his practice. So yeah, maybe I was a pick-me, and maybe he's a simp, but given the way things turned out, I'm simply glad he picked me, and you would be too.
I like that.
Shout out to JudgeLynn. I got one more clip, and then we'll jump into the questions. Okay.
Seriously, how much money you make?
I told you. 70,000. Well, technically 72,000 last month. Something like that.
You make 72 grand in 1 month.
Yeah.
I tell you what. You show me a pay stub for $72,000 on it, I quit my job right now and I work for you. Hey, Paulie, what's up? No, yeah, no, everything's fine. Hey, listen, I quit.
So yeah, so in those clips we saw that JudgeLynn, she'd gotten married, and the man recognized that, you know, hey, she's got a better trajectory career-wise for the family. She will take us further in a sense, and so he took that step back and supported her and the family for the betterment of the family to go forward. And then we highlighted that other clip with the couple, and he asked her like, how much you make? And she said, you know, 75,000. So that's a play off of the Wolf of Wall Street, I think it was. And so he said, oh, I work for you now. Like essentially he recognized that, hey, you're going to take us further by
Exactly.
your career, your trajectory, rather than us, not so much bumping heads, but one takes a step back or one bows down, don't shoot me, to the other, and allows them to lead. So before we get into the spicy questions, let's ask, in your opinion, are gender roles outdated?
So I'm not gonna say that gender roles are outdated. Um, I just feel like at this day and time, we have to be able to be more flexible.
Mm,
They're not as strict. They're
true.
more intermingled than what they maybe once were at one time, where it was man gets up, puts on suit, goes to work, woman stays home, cooks dinner, things like that.
Mm,
In this generation or in this time frame, the way things have changed, are working and have jobs now. In this generation and day and time, it typically it takes two because of cost of living. In a lot of cases, it takes two to actually make a successful, wealthy household. In some cases, you can still find those rare occasions where the one man has a job and it's enough to cover everything. But a lot of times, the woman plays a part too. So it
mhm,
needs to be intermingled. The man needs to be able to sometimes cook and help with cleaning. The woman may have to go get a job to help bring in some income. There
mhm.
has to be a flexibility. So gender roles are not outdated. They've just they've just broadened.
Fair point. Fair point. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Yeah, the traditional, 1920s and previously households of the man bringing home the bacon is almost non-existent in today's society, especially where you live in the U.S. in the Western world, at least. If you're living in Cali, New York, I was
Right.
just in New York not too long ago. Like rent 3,000 for like a bedroom essentially in some other places. So yeah,
Exactly.
in those careers, if you're not in a professional career where you can make your 80,000, 100,000 plus in certain cities, it's hard
It
to do
is.
the single income thing. And so you have to, like you said, be flexible. Either she's gonna contribute or he's gonna step up a little more, and you have to be understanding of that need for the household. And I
Right.
think what gets lost in today's conversations is, what is the ultimate outcome of the actions that we take? Like, is it just to make a couple dollars for myself? Or are we making these dollars for the betterment of the household, for the children, for the grandchildren, like for tomorrow,
Right.
essentially? So sometimes we get lost in the selfishness, to be honest, of the situation, and
Exactly.
look for the benefit to be just for you. And
Yeah.
that's not a good way to think of it, because in both clips it showed that the partner supported that person by essentially sacrificing whatever dream they may have had, and said, for the betterment for our household, I'll take that step back and I'll support you more, because by me supporting you more, we'll go further in the long
Exactly.
run. So
Exactly.
it's like, no, I nullified, like I said, my dreams are what I want, because I know ultimately, at least the reason that they may have is the outcome for the family will be greater by me supporting you in your endeavors.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I am.
Yeah. It definitely needs to be a team effort. And so I have to say, I'd say you have to find, basically, it's not so much what you want and what I want,
Mhm,
it's what we want, where we need to go, and what do we need to do, what I'm saying, as collaborative to get where we want to be. I don't think that neither one has to totally give up their dreams totally,
mhm,
but you may have to temporarily maybe place yours on hold for a little bit while we're
mhm,
getting this. And then once we get here, then you can do this. So I'm pretty sure, now that the judge has accomplished what she needs to do and done her dreams and now has the
mhm.
money that she has, I'm pretty sure whatever it is that he wants to do now, he can freely go and do, because now she has the money to put into his businesses.
Adventures, yeah.
So you have to take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and see where we want to go, where our dreams are, what things we want to do, and how can we accomplish it. Who's on the faster track to get there faster? How can I help you get there? And then how can we then get to the next level? And so, like I said, it's a team effort. It's a team effort. The same as with raising your kids and raising your children. That's a team effort. We want to get our kids to college, so we need to get them through school. We need to get them into college. We need to get money saved up for school. How we have to do that, invest it, then get them out the house, and hopefully they'll pick right and do right in whatever as they grow older. You know what I'm saying? For as finances go, you know, we got to get our money to a certain extent. We want to save so much money, put up so much. We want to invest so much. How are we going to work this together to get there? If we want to buy a home, well, we got to work on our credit. You know, yours may be better than mine. So you may have less debt to pay off than mine. So let's get this paid off, then let's get that paid off. Let's get the first house in your name, the second house in my name. If you structure and plan and work with each other as a unit, then that's the best way and the fastest way to get there. If you were both trying to stay in your own lines and what this is mine and that's yours and this is how I'm going to do, this is what I want to do, time passes and you get nowhere.
You'll get nowhere.
A successful unit. A successful unit is a team that works together to get to those goals together.
True. Good point. All right, let's see what the comments got first right now. If you're enjoying the show, like the stream, please. It's free. Just hit the like button and share. All right, so we have people should choose a partner who complements them and their needs, not look good on Instagram. That is true. That is true. Sometimes they get lost in the sauce and say, "Oh, they look good. They got nice pictures," but it can be just for show. They say, yes, each one help one. It's a journey. The woman is not necessarily her leading. She just makes more, but it's all for the advancement of the family. It does take two.
Cool.
True. It just means the family is better positioned. It's mutual. If the man can cook, sometimes he can do dinner or watch the kids. It's a team. Sometimes the captain, starting five, best player needs a break. True. Also, it takes a good leader to recognize the traits in the other person, because you can, okay, I may be LeBron James or Michael Jordan, but if we're in a situation where we need a corner three, if I can't get there, they're trapping me for me to make that better pass. Yes, I may want the highlight of, oh, I shot over 2-3 defenders, but for the best outcome, if there's a wide open guy in the corner, I'm going to pass the ball and we're going for the win. Ultimately, it's the team. Like they say, we're going for the win. And also to address the previous comment by Karen, it's about picking the right person. Like you also said, David, that compliments you and that also has your best interests in hard times. Because I've heard, this is a whole nother conversation, but I've heard situations where the man or the woman will take that step back for the other person, allow them to progress, whether it be career, school, whatever. And then when the other person gets to that level, they switch up. So you've heard situations like that where, okay, I let you go to school or I let you get this career. Now when it's my turn, pull yourself up. So it's like, what? So yeah, it goes back to picking that right person as well. Or if you not even to say, okay, I'll let you progress. If you get sick, sometimes that's unforeseen. You know, somebody gets an illness, has to be down for a couple of years, or sometimes even terminally, unfortunately, for life. They've got to be on disability. You have to be, in a sense of blessed if you have that partner, that will stand by you and make those sacrifices for you. But like I said, that's a whole other conversation. Like vetting during hardship as well. All right, so let's jump back into our next segment. I kind of called it broke love in a sense, but let's play the clip from that. These are some news broadcasters. I think it's Jeanette and Robert, their names. So let's play that now.
IHOP bill is usually like $15-$20 for two, and gave the waitress my debit card. Came back, sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. You just don't have. No. Try it again. Try it again. But what did it wasn't like all right, this broke dude. I'm not. It was, all right, we got to run to the ATM then. And so she could have never went out with me ever again, to the point where my mom, when she told my mom that story, my mom was like, and you still with him?
So yeah, that's a very nice clip. But what I want to highlight is that, or I want to ask, how do you handle conflicts or hard times? Because in that clip, it showed that, they went out to eat and unknown to him, he didn't have enough money on the card for the bill. And at the end of the clip, he even said when he told his mom about the situation, she was like, "And you still with him?" So, so it's like, how do we handle conflicts and hard times in a relationship, or how do you see it?
Well, first of all, like we said earlier in the conversation, you got to pick them. So
Mhm.
you have to know the kind of person that you are, dealing with to begin with. But honestly and truthfully, hard times come.
Mhm.
Um, especially in this economic climate we're in right now. Like
Mhm.
things are about to get pretty shifty in the future months. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
True.
And so you need to, find that balance or know that you have that person who's really with you for you, who understands what your financial situation is. That also comes with being honest from the front. Like
Mhm.
the woman needs to know, if you ain't making no money or you ain't really got no job, like, be for real. Don't talk, don't do all this talk and then turn back
Mhm.
around and you ain't got. And don't be going out trying to wine and dine over expensively when you know it's outside of your budget.
True.
Don't get yourself caught up like that. Check your balance before date night. Like you should know how much money you got
Mhm.
in your account before you go. You think things of that nature. But honestly and truthfully, I feel like hard times and conflicts are things that are actually good and beneficial. I'd rather it come up earlier than come up late because it kind of shows you the mind of the person that you're with. You know what
True.
I'm saying? Um, and if she's willing to stick with you and stay with you in those times when you have less, then it's even better, when things get better because she's gonna be, worthwhile having around as things get better and as things grow. At the same time, yourself being a man, like I said, the responsibility falls on the man. Yourself being a man, you had better be working towards something.
Mhm.
If you're broke right now, this better not be where you're satisfied in being. You know what I'm saying? You may be broke, but you got a job that's starting tomorrow, or you're working one job looking for the next thing, or you're saving your income, or you're broke because you're paying off a house, or you're broke because you're getting your down payment to get like there better be reason why you're broke because
Mhm.
there's no excuse for the man part. There's no excuse for you being that broke. You should go get it. You feel me? Um, like honestly and truthfully. And if you're that broke, then you honestly shouldn't be trying to date and trying to get into a relationship and things like that right now. No how. You should be focusing on getting yourself established versus trying to go get some.
All right. Give it to you straight, no chaser.
I'm just gonna give it to you straight. I'm gonna give it to you straight. You need to be focused,
Mhm.
more focused than trying to go and date if you're broke to the point where you ain't got $20 in your account.
Yeah.
Now it is understandable that things do happen and you get caught in some points, but that shouldn't be a very regular thing. And like we talked about earlier with picking and knowing and
Mhm.
things like that, ladies, if you know that a man who financially can't support you or can't do things or can't carry his weight is going to be an issue for you. If you see that this coming up broke thing happens more than a few times, that may be one of your signs that
Mhm.
it's time for you to move around. Especially if you don't actually see where he's working towards something. If he seems comfortable in his brokenness,
Mhm. I'll
then
play devil's advocate. So is it
go ahead.
fair to only want or express mutual interest in that man when he's established?
Well, no, and that's why I said he should be working towards something.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If there should be evidence, not just hearsay, not just him saying, "Well, I'm getting ready to get a job."
Okay.
Well, I'm about to do this, that, and another. No, like
Yeah.
where are the receipts? Where is the evidence that you are doing something? Are you in school right now, getting ready to graduate in a few months? Are
Mhm.
are you getting ready? Are you saving your money into an account to pay for a down payment? Are you, there has to be reason for you to be in that situation, and you should not be comfortable in that. If a man is comfortable in that broke, then you're gonna have a problem because he's gonna probably end up leaning on you.
Mhm.
It's like a 75-25% chance that he's gonna
Mhm.
probably end up leaning on you. If he seems to like if instead of him going and getting a job, he's sitting up playing Madden, he's hanging out with his homeboys, he's this, that, and other, but he ain't never got no money for nothing.
Mm,
That's a
true.
flag.
His
You know what I'm
priorities are
saying?
in the wrong place.
Priorities in the
Wrong
wrong place, and that's a
Yeah.
flag. And you can't think that that's just gonna change just because you say something about it or because you get mad about it. It's probably not gonna change. And if it does change, it's only gonna change because you're pissed off for a couple of weeks until you're not paying attention again, and then it's gonna fall right back into that same thing. A
Mhm.
man who's trying to be a man will be looking for jobs, will be going to school, will be getting education, will have a plan and be
Mhm.
putting the plan into action, not just all talk.
Lip service.
And
Mhm.
you'll actually see that those actions. If there's no action going on, then and it's just all talk, but there's no action going on, that's that sign that it's not gonna go nowhere.
True. Very true.
So
Very
and
true.
so you do better to not waste your time with that. Now there are some slim chances when things are different. I do understand. So I don't want to say well never give them a chance, but at the same time, if you know what you're looking for, place yourself in a position for at least 75 to 85% positive outcome.
Mhm. Give yourself the best opportunity.
Give
Highest
yourself the
probability of
best
success.
opportunity. Exactly.
True. Very true. All right. Definitely. Let's jump into the comments again. Again, like the stream, guys. We appreciate it. It is free. Share the video. And if you want to come up, the link is there to
The
join the
links
panel
in
and
the
give your
chat.
perspective.
If you don't want to show your picture because your hair ain't that, it's okay. You can come in with your voice and leave the screen black.
The
We'll just hear your
avatar in
voice.
the
Come on,
back.
come on. Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
All right. So it says, I've seen men flexing with expensive things. They want to date women for a place to sleep. Yeah, they call those hobosexuals. Looking for a place to sleep. Oh, so yeah, that vetting process, especially, I'll say it's especially important for the women because unfortunately, biology, we have two different timelines. For men, sometimes they can mess up and they can figure it out later in life. But women, especially if you want to have a family, kids, you really have to vet that person very early on. Don't get caught up in this flashy life. If he leads with his wallet, that can be a flag because he's valuing that money, or he's just gonna be trying to smoke screens, in front of you. So yeah, that is betting early and cutting them off as soon as you see those red flags. Let's see, stuff happens, but if he is a decent guy and she knows he has a job, it's not such a big thing. That's true. You got to make grace for that person
Right.
as well, because you'd want it on yourself as well. You'd want to be given the chance to prove yourself.
Right.
I say, yep, don't put your basket higher than you can reach. Conflicts will come, and it sometimes shows she's not there for his money. That's good. That's true. They'll show their hand. Let a little rough patch come. Oh, you ain't got it. I thought you was the man. I thought, and then that neck snapping and dream and all,
That's it.
all
That's
that
it.
stuff start coming out. Like, who is it? And yeah, and probably and have a good reason why you're broke. Like you said, David, if you're working towards something, being broke is really just a temporary state because you're working towards something.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
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 And the same goes for women. True, men are not ATMs. Get your own bag so you don't get into a relationship with people with/for ulterior motives. That's true. Fair point.
Very true.
No, his financial status shouldn't be the deal breaker, but as David said, the lack should be reflective where his priorities, keyword, are and what he's doing to change that position.
Exactly.
That's the main thing. You got to show them
Exactly.
receipts.
Exactly.
Show
Exactly.
them
You got
receipts
you got to have a plan and actions. You have a plan and actions.
and
That's
action.
it.
All right, so we're gonna play the second half of this clip. Let me see if it'll load up and continue where we left off.
We went to Ruth's Chris for a nice little fancy dinner. He told me to dress up, do all of that. We're taking a walk down memory lane, that type of thing. And then the bill comes, he gives her the card. She comes back a few minutes later, and she's like, "Sir, your card declined." And I'm looking at this man. Like, and I just brought my lip liner and my lipstick.
Didn't bring no money.
So he's like, "Remember when this happened in Little Rock?" And I'm about to go off.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Remember?" And And I'm like, yes, Robert, what? How are we gonna pay this thing? And then that's when he got down on one knee and you said?
I was like, well, at that point, that's when I knew that you would be the one. And I was like, you know, will you marry me?
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was so nervous. We were in the restaurant and he was so nervous that when I said, yeah, he jumped up, gave me a hug, and I had to whisper in his ear, like, you gotta
put the ring on. You gotta put the ring on.
So yeah, that's kind of lighten the mood because we've been kind of emptying the clip tonight. But yeah, as you see, she held him down during a rough patch, and this is gonna sound triggering. He rewarded her, but essentially he honored that interaction by saying, you know what, this is somebody I value. She didn't have to stay because even my own mama asked, "You still with him?"
You still with him?
After the situation manifested itself, and so he decided during that moment that, you know, this is the woman that I would spend my life with, and, you know, to having to hold to death do us part. So yeah, that's just one thing I just want to highlight, that it's not all bad out there.
Yo, real talk. I thought they were about to pull the old get down, propose and run. I thought
smoking mirrors. You go this way, I go that way.
I'm telling you. You tell me no, you run off, I chase you out the building.
We get to arguing in here. Move the tables around, get to fighting. Well, yeah. All right. So let's get to our last segment. We're gonna make it a little more lighthearted, more positive. So this one comes from Future Wifey. This clip is an interesting one, but it's highlighting the positive side of a relationship during hard times as well.
With Michael, I would ask him, so why do you love me? You know, whenever we're dating. And he told me, I love you because I choose to.
Oh boy, that right there. Hold on, y'all got to understand what that was. Man, go ahead. Y'all talk, because I understand when a man says that. Go ahead.
And I thought, what do you mean?
Yeah,
you love me because you choose. Is it that hard to love me?
Got offended.
Am I that hard to love?
Got offended.
All of the older people were just shouting his praise. He's
Yeah.
like, you get it. I was like, what? But it was all the older folks that were still married.
There it is.
They got it.
Yeah.
So, I didn't necessarily like it then, but I did like it when I wasn't so lovable.
God, dog, this is good.
I did like it when I get pregnant and I gain 50 pounds. And he loved me, right?
He chose to love you.
And he chose to love me.
Teach.
And I really appreciated it when, you know what? There are times where I was a little too harsh or I was popping off a little bit. And you didn't revoke your love for me because I didn't meet your standard,
Teach.
right? You still loved me. And I'm like, oh, I get it. I like this kind of love because this kind of love is not revocable. This kind of love is constant. It's not dependent on how great I am, but it's dependent on your decision and your commitment to me.
So yeah, similar in the last clip, because you're expressing your love and showing the other person that, you know, despite be it a rough patch or a change in how you feel about yourself, because she said when she gained the weight from the pregnancy, she didn't feel lovable, or she was, you know, combative or whatever. They had your butting heads. They loved each other. The woman from the last clip, or two clips before, where, you know, he had hard times, she loved him in spite of his circumstance, and similarly the man loved her despite of her circumstance. So we're gonna have some other questions. It just says, what are some green flags in a relationship, especially when you're being, you know, chosen for love?
Green flags in a relationship.
Because we've shown plenty of red flags tonight.
Right, so many red flags. I think that the green flags are like we already discussed earlier. You know, the fact that that person seems to be, you know, understanding of you and the position that you're in. On either way that is, you know, if they understand that you're working towards something, they understand, you know, or if they're looking to see where they can benefit you. Like I said, it's a team effort, and so in being a team, you have to be paying attention and looking for, you know, where I can support you, and that person that you're with should be looking for the same. Like they should be looking for, where can I step in to be helped. Where can I step in to help make you better? Likewise, like I need to be about that person. That person needs to be about me. So those are the first. That's the first green flag that I see. It was a person that's willing to find a place where they can jump in and bring value, and that works with relationships. Period.
Period. True.
The best relationships are those where we bring value to each other. That's with work. That's with love. That's with family. That's with business. Where can I get into what you have going on and bring you value? So that's the main green flag. Other green flag is that person, a good listener. So once again, difference between hearing and listening. Am I
True.
able, like the young lady was saying, speaking earlier, she wants to be able to express herself without him coming off, or feel like it's attacked. Are you open enough to be able to listen and hear and allow the information to absorb and make changes or show that you were actually listening and that you care enough about that person's feelings to make those changes versus just arguing back, versus
Mhm.
just debating my part back? Actually taking what you say into consideration is concerned. Um, for a female that's dealing with a male, green flag would be, does he make time? You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? If a man really wants to be with you, he will make time to
that's true.
do things for you. He will
Mhm.
make time to be there for you. He will attempt to plan things for you. You know what I'm saying? He should never be too busy where he doesn't have time. A man makes time for what he wants. So that's like that's a definite green flag. See. I could probably think of some more. I'll give you a chance to say if a couple if you have a
Okay.
couple. You go ahead.
Yeah, I got a few. I'll say in terms of green flags, especially from the male perspective, the women should look out for if he picks up little things during his day because he's thinking about you. So if he knows you like Kit Kat, it's something very simple, but it's those little things that you'd be surprised that will show that genuine interest, concern, and that you're at the forefront of his mind. If he knows you like to take walks in the afternoon, he'll say, okay, like you said, make time. Okay, it's you had a long week. Tomorrow morning, Saturday, Sunday, whenever, let's go down to the park and spend a couple hours just going around walking. Just like they make time for the things that you like as well. It's not all about, okay, are you catering to me, but I'm also catering to you as well. Another thing, like you said, with the communication, do you make room for that person to express and allow for any kind of debate or pushback? Like, do you allow my point of view to be heard, even if it may be a little harsh, even if it may be on the opposite side of you? Because there's some people, if you don't agree with them on everything, then that's technically a red flag. But do they allow for your point to be expressed and, like you said, heard? Not just, okay, you voiced it, now what I got to say is like, is not so much a talk to respond, but you really have to process what that person is saying. But yeah, I would say making time, and also I think that's major in my opinion. Like if I know you like something and I get it for you, or that I always, despite if we're mad or arguing, I'm gonna pick this up for you. I know you like that Kit Kat, or buy you the king size, even though you deserve a mini right now. It's little things like that. That's, I would say, like, okay, yeah, like it's whatever. I still love you, girl. Like, regardless. That's just me. That's just me. All right, but let's jump into these comments and then we'll do our last question and wrap it up for the night. Let's see, where do we leave off? I think we did that one already. LOL, what? He's lucky she said yeah. Oh, I think because he said I choose to. It said he's lucky she said yeah. Interesting. I don't from a male perspective, I don't know why people may view him saying I choose you or I choose to in a negative light. I can understand that. Let's see. Say yes. Love is more than just a feeling. It is a choice. All right. So she sees it from our perspective, but interesting how, there's two different sides of that coin. Say yes. Hand claps. David, you want to be my counselor? David, you got a calling out here. Let's see. Yes, it's the little things. Good. Food is my love language. It's true. You got to know. I don't memorize all of them, but love languages. It's a big thing. Some people are communication. Some people are gifts, words of affirmation, time. Yeah, you have to know the person that you're courting or in a relationship with. True. True. He knows your likes. The little things count. She got home late. Let me pick up dinner. Yeah, true. He worked hard in the yard today. Let me make sure there's something for him to eat. That's true. Just understanding what that person may need in the circumstance. Like I said, supporting, being on their team, knowing what they need to progress their day or make their life a little easier. Like, why make life hard for each other, you know? All right. And then finally, who benefits in a relationship?
Okay, that's a question there. All right. So, what's your thoughts on that one?
Okay, I have I got like a little list out here because I know we're closing out. Okay, I'm gonna say it. So, women are beneficiaries of men, and likewise, men are beneficiaries of women. So there's a mutual benefit being with each other. I guess more traditionally, women benefit by having the provision, the safety, the security, the community aspect, and men benefit by having children, increased health, and having a social circle. Because typically, most men aren't the biggest socializers, and obviously, we need women for children. And conversely, if the man is, traditionally the breadwinner, or even just a good support to that woman, the benefit of having somebody in the home to protect you if there's, a thud in the night. If you're in a car wreck or your tire blows out, he comes in, repairs it, or he gets the AAA to come out there. Like there's little things that we benefit from each other. So I don't want there to be the sentiment that, we're only saying there's a benefit for women or only benefit for men. There is a mutual benefit. There are different levels of benefit, but there is still a benefit that goes both ways, in my opinion. So yeah, don't want to get too controversial.
I like how you played that one. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I honestly, I think I'm gonna pretty much just kind of stick with those. I kind of had a few thoughts, but likewise, I don't want to get that controversial. It's towards the end of the show.
For that one, right? Have a smoke show.
We're gonna definitely have a smoke show for that.
Let it all out.
Let it all out there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's mutually beneficial, and you have to find those things that you benefit. But for the biggest part, especially in a relationship, when both people are both being about each other, then it's beneficial because in that relationship you also find a partner, you find a friend, you find a confidant, you find a counsel. So when you both are together, you know what I'm saying, that you receive each other's love, you receive each other's gift of support, you receive, you know what I'm saying, each other's presence, you receive somebody that you can talk to, lean on, cry on, laugh with, you know what I'm saying? And that is so big in relationship. And a lot of times those little things kind of get missed because we're looking at money, or we're looking at sex, or we're looking at those basic things that honestly and truthfully, when it's all said and done, those things don't have as much value as we actually we realize they actually they don't have as much value as we think that they do, or that we place on them. The most valuable asset that we both have is time, and having the memories and the emotions and the things that we share in the time that we have together in relationship is what's going to last and what's going to hold, what's going to keep and what we're going to have when the money's gone, when the bodies are gone, when the faces is gone, when the makeup don't hold no more, and when your titty sag to the floor, and when he ain't working no more. You feel me? That time that you spent is what lasts. And so I think we both that's where the major benefit is the benefit is what you two pour into each other and what comes from that.
Very true. Very true. All right, so we're going to jump into the comments one last time, and then we're going to wrap up.
We've had some great comments tonight too. We had some great comments.
Thank you guys for the engagement. Like the video, share the stream as we wrap up. So let's see comments. He knows your likes. Oh, we read that one already. Both people. Like my other comment, doing little things makes the dynamic smoother and feel better and creates a good environment / relationship. True. Which benefits both parties. You have a less stressful dynamic, which transfers over emotionally, intimately. That's true. Biologically, mentally. Win-win for everyone. Yep. Very, very true. All right. So I'm going to do the solution segment, and then you can chime in at the end. So yeah, okay. We're the men. Things that I've gathered from our conversation and from our comment section. Thanks to all the comments. Men, she needs to have skin in the game. When you have these hard times, how does she traverse that road with you? Does she switch up on you? Does she make you feel like less of a man? You know, she's got to have some involvement and showed some interest in the future of the relationship and not just her as an individual. Also, man, you must be respected and show respect at all times. You need to make her feel sexy, make her feel safe. It's a major thing with women, especially if you get to the point where you have children or just something happened health-wise. You have to make her feel like she's still a woman and attractive to you. Make her feel safe, either by providing for the house or when she's home, she knows that, okay, if anybody comes in here, you lay down your life and that you're standing up for her in that household. Action is important. Do what you said. Show and prove. That's the name of the game right now. Sacrifice, men, is expected. It is a thankless job, but that's just the nature of the cards we were dealt. Make room to be vulnerable and don't shut down expression. I know it's kind of typical for men to hide emotion and guard vulnerability because you don't want that feeling if people switch up on you to have that, out in the open. It shows for women that you value them and value that trust as well. That, okay, I'm going to open up to you. Don't shut down expression because women are social. They like to talk. So you need to have that time allotted where you can converse. It may be hard. Sometimes you may be tired. Say, let me get a nap and we can talk later. But yeah, you need to make that time to have that non-intimate interaction as well. All right. So now, ladies, things that I want to suggest. He needs to be intentional. He should have a plan and also execute. There's a lot of guys who dream. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes us guys, we are dreamers, but we have to plan and execute. Let him provide and direct. Now, it's not that you don't have a say, but you still need to have that balance where, okay, he still has that leadership role in the house. There's some men who have a fear of not living up to that role or responsibility. So sometimes you gotta, take a step back and allow him to make him think he knows he's in charge. All right, ladies. Appreciate him. Men love hard too. We may not always show it, but just saying I appreciate you, I value you, I'm thankful for you. And likewise, men, you got to say that as well. But a man will work, and like the song says, I will cross the ocean for you. A man will do so many things for a woman he's in love with. Like, he will literally move heaven and earth. He'll sacrifice so many things. He'll take up extra hours. He'll sell things. Like, he'll do so much for that woman. Also, ladies, men are going to mess up. You have to forgive, and forgive for real. It doesn't benefit you or the relationship to bring up things. Yes, some hurts hurt more than others and are harder to forget than others, but you have to try your best effort to forgive and forgive for real. Don't shoot him with his secrets. Sometimes when you get into heated arguments, you can use his vulnerability, unfortunately, against him. And that's gonna some guys, it's one and done. You use my vulnerability, my secret against me in a high tension situation. Like that's it. Like you'll never get that level of expression out of him again. We said compliments him, respect at all times. That's both ways. Also know, like I said earlier, if a man is really about it and he loves you, when he says I got you, like he's got you. Like he's shown and he's proven, these things. And for both people, I want to say this one thing that I heard in a quote. It said, "You never want their peace to be where you are not." I think that's a very, very big thing. You don't want somebody to be sitting in the driveway when they get home because like, I gotta go in here and deal with this now. Or you don't want her to be out shopping or just going on girl trips just to vent. And you don't want to be that other person's source of stress or frustration. You want to be their peace. That goes both ways. So you never want their peace to be where you are not. All right. Anything else you want to highlight tonight, David?
That's good. These were all just great points, great highlights, great lessons. I just want y'all to listen. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you're talking to these young men or these young ladies, just remember what old Dave told you. You got to pick them.
Gotta pick them.
I want that to sit in the back of your mind. You got to pick them. You got to pick them.
That's true. That's
it. That's your third, fourth time dating. He ain't got no money. You got to pick him.
That's true. All right. So I want to thank you all for tuning in to another Unheard Word podcast. Thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for the comments. We had really, really good engagement tonight. I want to thank y'all. So yeah, like the video, share the stream. We also have different clips coming out on the channel, so you can go back in our catalog and just watch those, share those. And if there's anything that you disagree with on this topic today, drop it in the comment. We will address it.
Please drop it in the
future podcast. But again, just if you get anything from this conversation today, you never want their peace to be where you're not. All right, guys. Till next time. Peace.